My dad's a vicar, so I was lucky enough to grow up in a Christian family, which obviously meant I had a good grounding in what being a Christian meant, and that's obviously a real blessing and something I was incredibly, lucky to have as a child. However, I think the moment I personally chose to become a Christian was at a summer camp run every year at Sideswell Hall. I was around the age of probably 11 or 12. I think being around so many other Christians my age, and also being out of that home church setting where I was very much the vicar's son, and that was sort of my role in that church, gave me the opportunity to really interrogate my own faith. And that's where I decided that, I did want to give my life to Christ. So that was where I made the real personal decision to become a Christian. And then the other time that was really helpful for my faith and strengthened my faith was at university. God was good enough to provide another Christian in my block of flats who became my best friend through university. So we lived together for all 3 years, and we went to the same church together. And that church was brilliant as well for letting us really question those big issues in the Bible and engaging with those, and was really helpful, a really strong Bible teaching church, and really expanded my doctrinal and sort of theological knowledge as well. I think my favourite passage is in Ephesians chapter 3, verses 14 to 21, which I heard it was preached on at a Spring Harvest conference that I went to, again, probably 10, 15 years ago as a child. In it, Paul calls for Christ to be rooted in our hearts through faith, so that we may be rooted and grounded in love. He then goes on to write of the nearly incomprehensible height and breadth and depth of God's love. I think this passage massively instructs how I hope to act as a Christian, with that complete love towards my neighbour. I also find it a real comfort at times when I'm not quite sure where God is in a situation, to know that his love stretches to the limits and further of our imaginations. Verse 20 talks of a God who is able to do far more abundantly than all that we ask. I think it's wonderful that we can be in a relationship with a God who is that powerful and all-encompassing and just has plans for this world far beyond what we can think of. Finally, I think the main thing God is teaching me in these unprecedented times, as everyone's calling them, is to put all my hope in him at times of struggle. In our 20s and 30s group, we've just finished a series on Psalms, and we looked at several written by David where he was really up against it, but just kept turning back to God for his comfort and support. This time in lockdown has really forced me, I think, to turn to God in those times of struggle, just because the other options, people I might go to here, can't physically be accessed. So I've been really trying to bring my problems to God and leaving them with him, and then to take comfort from the fact that he has control over all these things, whether they're a day-to-day issue of mine or a global pandemic.